Welcome to the Horror Story channel, where nightmares come to life. Join us for spine-chilling stories of terror, creepy urban legends, and haunted places. If you're brave enough to face your deepest fears, hit the subscribe button for our latest horror stories. Without any delay, let's jump right into the story. The mirror's reflection. The sun was setting on the quiet town, casting a warm glow on the old Victorian-style house that sat at the edge of the woods. Sarah had always been drawn to the house, even as a child when her grandmother used to tell her stories of the guests that would stay there. The thought of starting anew in this idyllic setting was too enticing to pass up, and so she packed her bags and set out on the journey to her new home. As she pulled up to the driveway, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement mixed with a hint of apprehension. The house was grand, with tall windows and an ornate balcony that overlooked the garden. It had an old-world charm to it, and Sarah could imagine the guests of yesteryear enjoying their stays in the luxurious rooms. She stepped inside, and the smell of lavender and lemon greeted her. The previous owners had done a good job of maintaining the house, and Sarah couldn't wait to make it her own. As she explored the rooms, she couldn't help but feel a sense of peace wash over her. This was the start of something new, a chance to escape the monotony of her old life and find a sense of purpose. As the night drew in, Sarah made her way to the guest room that would be her own for the night. She nestled under the covers, listening to the sounds of the night outside. The gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl lulled her into a peaceful slumber. But as she dreamt, a sense of unease crept into her mind. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but something felt off. It was as if she was being watched, a presence in the room that she couldn't see. She shook off the feeling, telling herself it was just the unfamiliarity of the new environment, and drifted back to sleep. The old house creaked and moaned as Sarah made her way up the stairs to the second floor. She could feel the weight of her grandmother's legacy bearing down on her as she explored the rooms, searching for a place to call her own. It was in one of these rooms that Sarah discovered the hidden door. She had noticed the odd pattern on the wallpaper, and upon closer inspection, found a small handle that gave way to reveal a narrow passageway. The room at the end of the passageway was unlike any other in the house. It was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of must and decay. In the center of the room stood a large ornate mirror, covered in dust and cobwebs. As Sarah approached the mirror, she could feel her heart racing in her chest. She could see her own reflection, but something felt off. It was as if the mirror was reflecting not just her physical appearance, but her innermost thoughts and fears. Suddenly, the mirror flickered to life, showing her a scene from a nightmare she had the previous night. It was vivid and terrifying, and Sarah could feel the bile rising in her throat as she watched. But then, the scene shifted, and Sarah saw something that chilled her to the bone. It was a vision of the future, a glimpse of what was to come. And she knew, with a sickening certainty, that it would come to pass. For days after that, Sarah was consumed with the mirror. She would spend hours staring into it, watching as it showed her visions of what was to come. And each time she looked, she could feel the darkness creeping closer, drawing her in. Sarah couldn't resist the pull of the mirror. She was consumed by her obsession, and it was starting to show. Guests at the bed and breakfast began to notice the changes in her behavior, the way she would retreat into herself and speak in hushed tones. But still, Sarah could not tear herself away from the mirror. It was as if it had taken hold of her soul, and she was powerless to resist its pull. Sarah couldn't help but feel like something was off. Ever since discovering the hidden room and the mirror, her mind had been consumed by its power. Alice's presence only seemed to exacerbate her obsession. Sarah would catch Alice looking at her with a knowing smile, almost as if she was amused by Sarah's mental state. At first, Sarah had welcomed Alice's company, eager to learn more about the history of the bed and breakfast and her grandmother. However, as Sarah's mental state deteriorated, Alice's intentions seemed more and more sinister. One day, Sarah found herself staring into the mirror, lost in thought. Alice appeared behind her, her voice low and hypnotic. "Have you considered that the mirror might be showing you something other than the future?" Alice said, her eyes gleaming with an unsettling energy. Sarah turned to face her, her heart racing. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I mean that the mirror might be showing you what you want to see, rather than what will happen," Alice said, her voice still low and hypnotic. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She had never considered that the mirror might not be reliable. She had taken its visions as gospel truth, without questioning their validity. As the days passed, Sarah found herself growing increasingly isolated. She would spend hours staring into the mirror, trying to decipher its visions. Alice would come and go, seemingly amused by Sarah's obsession. Sarah started to doubt her own sanity, wondering if she was the only one who saw the visions in the mirror. It wasn't until Sarah had a chance encounter with a local shopkeeper that she began to question Alice's true intentions. The shopkeeper, a woman with kind eyes and a gentle voice, told Sarah about a similar mirror that had been rumored to exist in the town's old haunted mansion. It was said to show people what they wanted most in the world, the shopkeeper said, her voice hushed. But in the end, it always led to their downfall. Sarah's mind raced. Was it possible that Alice had known about the mirror all along? Was she using it to manipulate Sarah's mind, to make her believe in a false reality? As Sarah sat alone in the hidden room, staring into the mirror, she made a decision. She would confront Alice and put an end to her manipulation. It was time to take control of her own life and break free from the mirror's hold on her. In that moment, Sarah felt like she was losing control of everything. Her mind was consumed with the images that the mirror had shown her, and she could feel herself slipping further into its grasp. The sense of powerlessness was overwhelming, and she knew that she couldn't let it continue. With a fierce determination, Sarah reached out and grabbed the mirror, pulling it down with all her strength. The glass shattered, sending sharp fragments flying in every direction. For a moment, Sarah was lost in a whirlwind of motion and sound, but as the last shard fell to the floor, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. The mirror was destroyed, and with it, the hold it had over her. Sarah stood in the dimly lit room, staring down at the broken shards of glass scattered across the floor. The mirror that had once held such power over her was now destroyed, but the echoes of its influence still reverberated through her mind. Her memory was foggy, but she vaguely recalled a surge of anger rising within her, and with a single swift motion, she had hurled a nearby vase at the mirror. The sound of shattering glass filled the room, and for a moment, Sarah felt a sense of satisfaction. The mirror's hold on her had been broken, and she was finally free. Alice stood nearby, a twisted smile on her lips. "You were foolish to destroy it," she said. "You could have had everything you ever wanted. Wealth, power, immortality. but you chose to throw it all away. Sarah felt a surge of anger rise within her. "I don't want any of those things," she said. "I want to live a normal life, free from your manipulation and lies." Alice's smile faded, replaced by a scowl. "You're just like her," she spat. "Stubborn and foolish, always pushing away the things that could have saved you." Sarah shook her head, trying to push away the memories. Sarah woke up early in the morning, feeling a sense of relief wash over her as she realized the nightmare was finally over. She walked to the kitchen and brewed herself a cup of coffee, savoring the warmth and aroma as she looked out the window at the picturesque scenery of the Pacific Northwest. As she sipped her coffee, Sarah realized that she had finally found a sense of peace in the bed and breakfast. She had let go of her obsession with the mirror and had started to form connections with the guests and the community. She no longer felt the need to isolate herself, and instead, she embraced the present and looked forward to the future. Sarah walked through the halls of the bed and breakfast, taking in the beautiful decor and the cozy ambience. She stopped by each guest room, making sure they had everything they needed and chatting with them about their plans for the day. She felt a sense of joy and fulfillment as she saw the smiles on their faces and the gratitude in their eyes. Later that day, Sarah decided to take a walk in the nearby forest. As she walked through the trees, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. The rustling of the leaves and the chirping of the birds provided a soothing background melody, and she took deep breaths of the fresh air, filling her lungs with vitality. As she walked deeper into the forest, Sarah came across a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a tree, tall and majestic, with leaves that rustled in the gentle breeze. Sarah felt drawn to the tree, as if it held some kind of hidden significance. She walked up to the tree and touched its trunk, feeling the rough texture of the bark beneath her fingertips. As she closed her eyes, she felt a sense of peace wash over her, as if the tree was imparting its wisdom and strength onto her. Sarah opened her eyes and looked up at the sky, feeling a sense of wonder and gratitude. She realized that she had found a sense of purpose and fulfillment in the bed and breakfast and the community, and that she no longer needed to cling to the past or obsess over the future. As she walked back to the bed and breakfast, Sarah felt a sense of excitement for the future, knowing that she had found her place in the world. She smiled to herself, feeling grateful for the journey that had led her to this moment and excited for the adventures that lay ahead. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching my horror story videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and leave a comment below to let me know what you thought. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Your support helps the channel grow and allows me to keep creating new content. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video.